the Bihar government has in fact now reconciled COVID death figures in the state, and that has actually not just led to a jump in the COVID death tally for the state itself, but also across the country today we saw that in India, the health ministry in fact released figures saying that the total deaths daily death figure is now at 6,000, but that's because 3,000 of those figures are being added from Bihar government's reconciled COVID death figures. Now, India has recorded its highest single-day death tally of over 6,000 COVID deaths after Bihar government revised its COVID death tally. The state's COVID death tally jumped from 5,424 till about yesterday to 9,375 today, after over 3,900 deaths were reconciled and added by the Bihar government to its state data. And while Patna added 1,070 COVID deaths to its tally, which was the maximum for any district in this reconciliation process, Muzaffarpur was a distant second with 314 deaths added to the tally. Remember, Patna High Court had earlier ordered a review of death tally in the state. Let me go across to my colleague Aditya, who's joining me live on this. Aditya, so this is, of course, coming on the back of the fact that the Patna High Court had ordered a review of the death figures, and of course the state government was already facing a lot of criticism from the opposition, which had alleged that death figures were being fudged.
Well, yes. I mean, the opposition was no mood to relent as far as the death figures are concerned. Perhaps we remember the last session of the Bihar State Legislature, that is including the Assembly and the Council, that the opposition was almost at its peak of asserting that the data needs to be clarified. Later on, once the dead bodies of Buxar were noticed in floating the mighty river Ganges, it was noticed by the Patna High Court, and it was especially, I mean, the division bench led by Chief Justice Sanjay Karol himself. He directed the state government to come out with authentic data after proper audit and verification.
That's right. In fact, if we look at the breakup of the death data, which has now been revised, Patna has added around over 1,000 more COVID deaths, and other areas, as we can see, Muzaffarpur has also added around 300 such COVID deaths. Begusarai as well, East Champaran and Gaya also. These are some of the districts that we know of. But Aditya, this clearly shows that, there had in fact been a process going on when either the tally, has the state government actually come out with any more details as to where did things go wrong? Was it that hospitals were not giving accurate figures, or was it that there was some sort of a grey area in terms of determining COVID deaths vis-a-vis otherwise? What are some of the reasons which could have contributed to this mess that we are looking at?
Well, if health department sources are to be believed, I mean, they attribute this sudden increase of the death toll directly to unreported cases, right? What they have claimed or asserted is that they sent their committee members to individual places wherein COVID deaths were reported. They went on to the places, met the families, and then reconciled the data as of now. So this is what has transpired from the department sources.
Right. Also, Aditya, what we have in fact seen is, last question to you before we let you go, is there any, what are some of the next steps? Is the exercise still continuing? Because right now we can see that the state has added 3,000 more COVID deaths. Is there any further exercise being done? And also, what exactly is the state government doing now in order to ensure that this kind of mess doesn't happen again?
Well, I mean, this kind of mess can only be sorted out once the entire data or the data accumulated or collected by the different agencies of the government, particularly Urban Development Department takes care of the entire death certificates issued, and also the State Health Department also has a data of number of deaths in the individual hospitals. Now they are trying to assimilate these two sources into one to give one final and authentic data. So this is what they are planning as of now. But yes, there needs to be some work done so that things actually appear on ground.
Right, Aditya, we'll of course be tracking this very closely with you. Thank you so much for getting us this perspective and updates on this story.